Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of my new YouTube channel, Journey to Me. This is my first introduction video, so I wanted to give you a little bit of my background and what led me to creating this YouTube channel, Journey to Me. We'll start professionally. I was in a big box retail job for about 20 years. Uh, Worked a lot of hours. I have two kids, obviously, one that's 14 and one that's 21. But while I was working at that big box retailer, again, I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. So I felt like I was missing a lot of time with my kids. About 7, 8 years ago, I decided to step away from that position. It was a drastic change, a huge pay cut because retail, unfortunately, pays very well, and that's why people stick to it. But I wanted to make a change, not just for me, but for my family. So I took a different position at a bank as a branch manager, which affords me a lot less hours. I work 40, 45 hours a week. And have a little more flexibility. Obviously, we're closed on, banking is closed, federal holidays, so it affords me a lot more time with my family, or it did. So I've been doing that, like I said, about the last 7 to 8 years. And then personally, like I said, married, have two kids. They're currently 14 and 21. Another couple things that have happened to me over the last couple years is, for one, I went on a big weight loss journey where I lost about 120 pounds. That was, I think, 3 years ago in February of this year. So I went on that journey. After that, for about the last 7 years, since right before I left retail, actually, my knee started to give me problems when I was back working at the big box store. Um, I ended up having a cyst on it. Thought it was better. Went through cortisone shots, different things like that. Well, anyway, the last year in April, I ended up having to have a knee replacement surgery on my right knee. Did not go very well. My leg, I'd done tons of physical therapy. They were working it really hard. It was really painful, and I was not making any progress at all. So they went in and did what they call a manipulation, which is where they go in and actually rebend your knee again to force it to bend. Obviously, you're put out for that because it would be quite painful. So I went through that. It just made my situation worse. My knee was permanently bent at a bend, so I could not straighten it. So I kind of walked kind of crazy for the last year and a half. Um, After that didn't fix the situation, my surgeon wanted to go in for another surgery, where they wanted to cut the muscle in the back of my knee, which could have helped the issue, or they said could make it worse to where I couldn't walk. So I decided to seek out a second opinion. I went to another town, actually St. Louis, to the Barnes Hospital there. And within 5 minutes of the surgeon examining me, he discovered that I have what they call arthrofibrosis. Arthrofibrosis, you really don't know you have until you have a major surgery on a joint like a knee replacement. Because I had C-sections and things like that and never had any issues as far as surgery. But arthrofibrosis is where you grow a lot of scar tissue, and you grow it so fast that your body doesn't have time to heal, such as straightening your knee before it gets frozen. So what that required was for them this past February, or I'm sorry, April, is I went in for another knee surgery. They completely took out all the parts that were in there and had to put in a whole different part system to support my condition. Meanwhile, during that time, I had gained a little bit of my weight back, which is kind of depressing, but I'm working on that. Nothing crazy, about 30 pounds. So still at a, healthy, decent weight. But, that I kind of stopped, as of my weight loss, I was obviously working out and doing things like that. Well, unfortunately, due to my knee issues, all that kind of had to stop. So I'm about 6 months out right now. Things seem to be going great. I am having some hip issues now, which is not the best, but I got a cortisone shot for that, and hopefully I'll be doing good. About a week out from that. So anyway, feel like I had a pretty rough year last year between my knee surgeries. My son was diagnosed with what they thought was a form of cancer, ended up not being. I got a second opinion on that as well. He ended up having what they call cat scratch fever, which I thought was just a song. I didn't realize that was a real thing. So what he ended up having was cat scratch fever. So that cancer scare was put to rest fairly quickly after we went back up to St. Louis for the second opinion on that, which is why I, trusted them with my second opinion on my knee. So everything's doing great there. I had several family members pass away, and it was just a rough year overall. There was also a position that opened up at work that I really wanted to apply for, but did not get. So, life happens. I've always been a pretty driven person and moved up pretty quickly in every position that I've held, and always been in that leadership type role. So, when I went out on my leave in April for my knee, I kind of started really brainstorming, what am I going to do? I don't know that I can continue to work in my environment, even though I do have some sitting. There's still a lot of standing as well and running around. So, while I was out, I did explore some other positions, kind of just seeking out more of that office type position where I could be seated more. And not have to worry, about my leg condition or hip or any of that stuff. So, that journey did not go well, to be honest. I have 30 years of leadership, retail, banking type experience, but I was really struggling to find a job. The only really people that were interested in giving me a call were retail type environments, which I really did not want to go back to. So I eventually just decided, you know what? I'm not having any luck finding the positions that I wanted. So I just decided to focus on where I'm at in my current career. But it's kind of left me at a little bit of a crossroads because I'm at that age where, I've kind of that middle age where, my brain is still focused on being driven and wanting to get promoted and move up because that's what I've done my whole life. But my husband says, you're close enough to retirement now. You should be focused on retirement. He's been in his job for 30 years with the government. So he's actually getting ready to retire the end of this year. So, of course, he's focused on that. But, it's not the end of his working journey, just retirement from the government position. He still has a lot of other hands in different fires that he's going to work on as his current role ends, I guess. So anyway, but it kind of left me at this crossroads where I really felt like, man, what do I do with my life? I can't. And I sat down and I was having a discussion with him one night, and I said, this is what I feel. I've always been do this, move up, move up, move up, and focus so much on my career that was what I did. That was my hobby. I didn't have a hobby. I didn't have anything else I did. That was all I focused on. And then came family, 2 kids, which I still kind of focused on again until I finally stepped out 78 years ago to focus on them. But yeah, I'm a little lost. Like, what do I do with myself? I don't want to keep continuing to move up anymore. I'm too young to really start thinking about my retirement plans other than, retirement fund. So I just told him, I don't know what to do with myself. And his recommendation was to, hey, why don't you start a YouTube channel? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I don't know anything about YouTube. The only social media I'm really on is Facebook. I don't watch YouTube videos. I don't watch TikTok, any of that stuff. So, but he said, you're creative, you're artsy, you're looking for something to do. So maybe you can document your journey of, trying to figure yourself out. So in that conversation, I said, thinking about my childhood and things that I wanted to do growing up, one of the things that stuck out to me first was learning an instrument. So when I was in fifth or sixth grade, I really wanted to learn an instrument. I thought I wanted to play the piano. I got to junior high. Then obviously I wanted to play the saxophone. But again, my parents didn't have a lot of money. So we just, bypassed that. And I thought, but that's something now that I'd like to go back and learn. So thinking about the different instruments out there, I thought about the guitar. That's where I'm going to start first. I'm going to start a journey of learning to play the guitar. I don't know anything about music or instruments or anything like that, but that's a journey that I'm going to start. But I'm going to try a lot of different things along the way. So, I've thought about pottery, volunteering in the community, whatever it may look like. I'm going to try a bunch of different things over the next, I don't know, year or who knows how long until I really find that thing that sticks and that makes me happy and gives me something to do. My kids are 21 and my youngest is 14 now. So, they don't really need mom as much anymore. So now I feel like it's time to focus on me and really figure out what I want to do. So that's where we're at. So I thought about the YouTube channel recommendation that my husband recommended after talking to several people that I know who kind of felt, I'm in that same boat. That's a great idea. So here's where we're at. I decided to give it a try. So again, this is my first YouTube video of Journey to Me. I hope that you can come along with the ride. What I would like or foresee this turning into is a channel where, you can help me make recommendations on learning to learn my instrument or whatever it may be on the journey that I'm taking, but also maybe make suggestions to help me figure out what to do along my way. So again, this is my first video. The first one will be around learning a guitar, and we'll follow up with a lot of different things as we go. So if you want to be on this journey with me, obviously hit subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Have a great day.